Greetings everybody, it's HawgDawg. It's been a little while since we've actually created a video other than impromptu videos, so today I wanted to create a video that profiles the KA-50 in DCS and how to fly the KA-50. Not the startup procedure per se, or you know, the weapons, although we'll cover that today as well, because we're doing a rescue mission today. And we're in the KA-50. We're not able to pick up the downed pilot, so our job today is to find him and then report his location to a UH-1 Huey that can then pick him up. At the time that we find him, though, we suspect that the ground troops for the enemy will be notified of his location because of the smoke that he pops, and they'll be heading his way. So you'll have to kind of protect him until the Huey gets there. So taking a look at the outside of the aircraft, to begin with, you'll notice that I have some area over here. This isn't full screen, and I do that with DCS because I make it one size smaller than my desktop, whatever options are in the size of the screen, so that I can move it and I can throw it over on screen number 2. That's the only way to do that. Actually, it's better to, if you have 2 different resolutions, to set monitor 2, or to set your DCS the size of your smallest resolution so that you can trade it back and forth between the 2. Otherwise, you can drag it over there, but it's so big you don't see part of your screen. So, at any rate, the helicopter is, you can't look at the outside in this mission, so we won't take a look at the outside today. But in the cockpit, you notice that there are a number of buttons and switches and knobs, and we're going to address some of them today, mainly with regard to waypoints and the map and how to get the helicopter to do the flying for you. To begin with, one thing you want to make sure that you do is you want to set, make sure you have set on your throttle or joystick or whatever you're using, buttons for nose up and nose down trim for the helicopter. I use the Extreme 3D Pro, and I use buttons 3 and 4 on the joystick itself. So I just have to reach up with my thumb and push, you know, the one on the left to bring my nose down and the one on the right to bring my nose up. And that's very important that you do that before you try to start flying with the KA-50, because the KA-50 really does fly itself. Using that trim, you use it to take off and to level yourself, and you'll see what we're talking about, or what I'm talking about as far as flying itself, but still using the trim, the nose up and nose down trim. Before I take off in the KA-50, I always take the trim forward like 3 notches. I just click it 3 times, sometimes twice if I hold it long. And then when I take off, as I slowly add throttle, you'll notice I'm rolling forward, so I should click up once, my nose up once, to get the aircraft to take off vertically. And now I don't have my hand on the joystick right now. I just used trim to level the aircraft as I was taking off. Of course, we've got to lift our gear. You can see over here, there's your gear indicator, and they're green, so they're down. Pull them up. Now, if you look over here on this side, you'll notice that this is our navigation system. We're currently set for, and here, let's zoom in a little bit. We're currently set for, and this says WPT waypoint 1. You'd notice the 1 over here. I can change that to waypoint 2, waypoint 3, 4, 5, and 6. I can't go higher than that in the KA-50. But you'll also notice here on this side are the GPS coordinates, north and east, or north, south, east, west, in accordance with the waypoint. You can also click the airfield button, select waypoint 1, or airfield 1, that's the airport we just took off from. So if I want to face this helicopter towards the airport, we should probably look at the ground. Everything's looking good. If I want to go back to the airport, all I have to do is click this airfield button and then 1, and it'll take you back to where you came from. If I have additional airports, like I do, programmed in this mission, you'll see airfield 2 is where the Hueys are coming from. So if I want to then go to where the Hueys are at, then I just hit airfield 2, and it changes my waypoint to there. Now, how do we use those waypoints? Well, zooming back out, let's go back to waypoint 1. Waypoint 1. You'll notice that the indicator changes over here. It also tells you how many miles you are away from waypoint 1. Now we're flying in the opposite direction of waypoint 1, and we want to turn the helicopter so that we're heading for waypoint 1. Well, I don't actually have to grab the joystick at all. It's currently cruising along, and you can see here we're really kind of hovering because we don't have any forward speed, hardly at all. And that's okay. We can still turn the helicopter, and we do that since waypoint 1's already selected down there. You press R, as in Romeo, and you'll notice that the aircraft just turns. And it turns to, and if you look down here in the corner, the MFD, it turns to the heading that it needs to go to get to waypoint 1. Now if I wanted to change that, and I say now instead of going to 1, go to 2, all I have to do is come down here and click this waypoint 2 button. You'll notice that this changes, the mileage changes, and now it's heading for waypoint 2. You can't really see that on the map. You can scale the map out with 3 and 4. 4 goes out, and you can see the whole path. I'm going to head directly for waypoint 3. You'll notice that I turn. The helicopter turns. I'm not really worried about crashing because I'm already set. I'm just doing, like I said, we're at basically hovering. And so I'm just positioning the aircraft in the direction that we want to travel. Now to make it go forward, since I'm already hovering and everything's, I'm pointing in the direction that I want to go, all I have to do is just press 1 notch of trim forward. And you'll notice that this needle starts to swing. That means we have some forward motion. Not very much, so I'll do it a couple more times. As I press that down button, you'll notice the nose drops, and eventually it comes back up. And it comes back up when you reach the speed that the trim is, I guess you set the trim for a speed, not for the direction of the nose. So right now, we're doing about 45 knots or so, and that's how many times I press the button, and then it leveled. So if I want to go faster, I'll press the button more, trim nose down more by just pressing it a couple times. Don't press it too many times, or your nose will point straight at the ground, and you kind of lose control. You lose altitude. It's a pain. There I pressed it twice, and even that's a little too much. And you can control that by just pulling back on the joystick a little bit, and it'll eventually just settle itself at a faster speed. Now we're doing about 150 knots. Of course, that'll settle because of the extreme pitch of the nose. We went faster than the intended speed. You think of the pitch up and pitch down as cruise control. Now we're actually doing about 120, and that's where it's settling at. I want to go faster, so I'll hit the down button again, and you'll notice that the speed goes up to about 150. I'll do it again, and you can keep doing this in the KA-50 until you get up to about 250 knots. Beyond that, you can go faster, but trimming it at that speed is that's about where it stops. The other thing that you can do while you're in here is, if you don't want to lose your altitude control, there's this little button down here. It's blue and it's not highlighted, and if you click it, your aircraft will do everything it can to maintain its altitude, even with the forward speed, the nose being tilted for that speed, the tilting up and down, whatever. Even the waypoint doesn't matter. It'll try to keep that altitude. Now, if you don't provide enough power, it won't be able to, to maintain its altitude. And that's the only requirement, power. So as we're flying along, we're still only flying about 200 knots. So I want to tilt the nose forward again a couple times. And you'll find that the faster you're going, the harder it is to increase your speed. The more presses you have to do, the longer you have to hold the button. I'm doing this rocking effect, but that rocking is eventually going to get me at a settled speed and level flight. Now we're getting a little closer to 250. 250 is a good speed because when you do come across some enemies, or if you come across some enemies, you'll need to slow down to attack them. Otherwise, by the time you set up, fire your missiles or whatever you want to fire at them, guns, rockets, bombs, you will have passed them. And you don't want to do that because then you got to turn around and da-da-da-da-da. And it's a lot easier not to get shot at if you're firing from, say, 4 miles out. Like right now, I'm using the Vickers. Nope, I don't have any Vickers loaded. Actually, this is a rescue mission, so I don't have any other than guns, ammunition loaded. So I can't show you that. But if you press O in the on the keyboard, you'll notice that 2 things happen. One, this little circle appears. That is your targeting reticle. That is a reference for this screen. So I move it by pressing the period, a semicolon, comma, and slash keys. Just rest my hand on it like it would be the up, down, left, right. And I just move it around. And you can see how as it moves around, so does the screen. To zoom that to zoom this screen in, you can zoom it in 1 notch by pressing the plus key. You can see that there's a road down there. Now your gun is attached to this device as well. So as you move this and you fire your gun, it will fire in the direction of that circle. Now if you're too far away, your bullets will drop before they get to that point. So you have to be intelligent with your shots, but that's the idea. That is the nose of your gun pointing at that location. So if we were close enough, we could fire at anything that was traveling on that road and it would take the damage. In fact, here, let's fire off a couple rounds. Oh, I got it. You can see how the bullets leave here, up here. You can also see them come on out the what's called the shivel screen, but you won't see them hitting on the ground because we're too far away. Now, if we lower down, you'll notice that spot doesn't change no matter how we turn the helicopter. That is your target location. Even if we pass that location and then come back, that target will still be selected. Here, we'll move it in closer. Now, in order to accurately hit something with your guns, the circle, the targeting circle that's on the ground has to be in this box, and then you'll see the letter C, Charlie. When you see C, then you can fire. And if you see C, you are also in range. So you'll notice that there are puffs on the ground. Well, I'll make some more because they're kind of hard to see. but my guns point to wherever that circle's at. It was just complaining about the dive. Sorry about the coughing. There are also, and a lot of people don't know this, I didn't know this until recently, and I didn't even pay attention to the manual. There's two sets of ammunition in the KA-50. One is high explosive, the other is anti-personnel. And the switch is cleverly hidden behind the cyclic here. And if you move it out of the way, you can see it, and it says HEAP switch. And when you switch it, you have a whole other set of ammo that a lot of people don't even know about. I'm fighting the GPS right now in the autopilot system. By turning the aircraft, I can certainly divert it from its path. Unlike a fixed wing, when you set autopilot, it's firm. You can't, you grab the controls and nothing happens, because autopilot has control. But in a helicopter, because of the dangerous nature of autopilot, you can still control the aircraft, and then when you let go, the aircraft will automatically point back to the direction that it was heading. So if I wanted to avoid a tower, for example, I just turn the helicopter, go around the tower, and then let go, and it will point back to its waypoint. So with trim enabled, I'm not holding the joystick. I'm flying along at 250 knots. I'm heading from the waypoint that I intend to be heading for, and now I have a shrivel system that is pointing behind me, which does me no good. And the question is, okay, so how do I center that shrivel or turn it off? Well, there's a couple of ways. You can hit H. H brings down your HUD that can be controlled with your hat switch. And when you get it to where you want it pointing, where you want the target pointing, then press O, and it'll change it to that place. There's your target. Then you can turn H off again, and bada boom, bada bing, there's your targeting reticle. And you can move it forward or left and right, just like, Or you can press backspace and turn it off, and then press O again and turn it on, and it'll appear about, I don't know, a quarter inch above your center right here. Going to need that information because in this particular mission, when we do find the pilot, the insurgents start moving on his locations to kill him, and we have to protect him until the UH-1 Huey gets here. So as we are approaching, we are getting close to the search area. Now I'm going to go directly off the search area. First, let's take a look at the map. I know for a fact that this guy is sitting right here, about right in this area right here, because I put him there. But my path will take me probably in this area. So we're going to go ahead and cheat. And what I'm doing here is that little tool up there is the distance measuring tool, and I right click on my aircraft on the map, and then I go to where I know I need to be. It's past that curl down there. So my heading should be, and if you notice right up here it has heading 272. So we'll get back in the aircraft, F1. Now to get the aircraft to follow the targeting reticle, which is really handy in wanting to head 272 or 242. What did we say? Okay, to do this, you turn the targeting reticle in the direction that you want it to go. In fact, let's turn off, or let's just turn the aircraft to 272, 242, whatever it is that we're needed to turn to. And I'll check it when we get done. I'll zoom in a little. 240. And then we'll hit backspace to reset the swivel. Then hit O, and you'll notice now you have your targeting reticle. And if you hit Q, the navigation system will automatically follow the targeting system. So the aircraft will point to wherever you move that targeting system to, as long as the autopilot is engaged, as long as R is engaged. And you can always tell if it's engaged based on whether or not this light is on. If I press R, that light goes off. Press it again, it goes on. And I'm currently pointing towards the targeting reticle. Now that you can tell because this little automatic turn on target mode light is on. Hard to see sometimes with the sun, but I assure you it's on. It's green. And we're heading that direction. And our heading is a little off. We're actually heading about 250, so we need to move to the right or to the left. I'm not using my track IR, although I have track IR. I just am currently choosing not to use it. It's easier sometimes to demonstrate some of the functionality of the buttons and switches. Weapons for the KA-50 will be a completely different mission. This is just basic flight and how to fly the KA-50 without actually keeping your hand on the joystick. Again, this is all done with trim and autopilot, using the auto altitude, the trim that you set up on your joystick before you start flying the KA-50, the automatic turn on target indicator, and the waypoint system, which includes airfield information for both airfields 1 and airfield 2. I do not have airfield 3. I don't have a third one. That's pretty much it as far as flying the KA-50. I'm not going to stick around for the rescue or shooting the guys or protecting the would-be downed pilot. I think that's another time, another place, and I want to thank you for watching. If you have any questions, come see me at msflights.net. I'm usually on TeamSpeak, and you can come talk to me there. Thanks for watching.